Oh! Oh! I'm gonna make a surprise entrance and give myself a welcome clap for returning back to the channel with a video, but I hit my head and the mic, it's disconnected from my computer. My computer's moved over to New Zealand. This part of the mic fell into my temple.
Hello and welcome back to Football for the Fans, where the fans come for everything inconsistent uploading schedules. My name is Mark and I'm so glad to finally be bringing you back a pre-recorded and uploaded video and not a live stream. Today we have a really simple concept, but one that was really difficult to make, and that was making a Premier League squad, a 20-man Premier League squad, including every Premier League team, but only one player from that team can be used. So for example, I would like to have had Edison and Ruben Dias and Gundogan in my team, but unfortunately I can only have one. So who did I choose? Did I choose any of those three, or did I choose none at all? Well, I guess you'll find out. Stick around to the end of the video to see exactly what my full bench as well included. That we had 9-player bench, which is 2 more than usual in a normal Premier League side, but whatever, I'm babbling on. Yeah, how heavy this part of the freaking microphone is. So today I'm wearing my Guns N' Roses t-shirt because this video is going to require an appetite for destruction, because I know that nobody's going to agree with me in the comments, but we're going to give it a go anyway. I'd also just like to mention, this is based upon this season, not the previous player's form. Also, I'm not choosing anybody that's been injured for a significant period of time, so unfortunately, Liverpool fans, Van Dijk will not be included in this side. I think that actually provides a little bit more of a challenge for me, and I guess it means that you guys are going to get to have a challenge of your own. Try and stick to my parameters when you do leave your starting 11s, and if you want to, of course, the bench in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your feedback on what you thought of this. Without further ado, let's get into this right now. So I've gone with none other than Nick Pope, one of the best expected saves, expected goals performing keepers of this year. He's saved Burnley multiple points. He'll keep them in the league this season. If I was looking to narrow it down, he should be England's #1, even if he does have an awkward distribution technique. He's made 22 appearances, made 88 saves. That's exactly 4 per match. In those 22 appearances, he's kept 8 clean sheets, and it's meant that bottom of the half table Burnley are actually one of the best defensive sides in the division. So full credit to him and his defense, of course. That's the like of James Tarkowski, who missed out on the side, Ben Mee, of course. He stands at 191 centimeters tall, in terms of plenty of ability in terms of catching crosses out of the sky. He's been a man of the match in 3 performances, and he'll be one of the key reasons, as I said, that Burnley will stay in the division this year and hopefully into the next couple. Alright, left back from your angle, from left. Wait. So starting with the defense, across from the left to the right, we're starting with a Manchester United player, and it's going to be Luke Shaw, the English 25-year-old left-back formerly of Southampton, who was at one time the most expensive teenager in the world. He is keeping, of course, Bruno Fernandes out of the team. Oh, that was crisp. In my midfield, which is going to be a 4-4-2, I don't think he was the best selection. So United fans, if you want to crucify me, that's fine. I think Luke Shaw has been just as good as Bruno Fernandes has been. He's been one of the most improved players in all of England, and maybe even Europe at this point. And he's keeping, of course, Manchester United's star Brazilian left-back Alex Telles on the bench. He's amassed 4 assists this season, actually 5 as of this morning, I should say. And that's been in the 20 games he's played this year. I believe that's more than he's had in his previous 84 combined. So he's getting up the pitch heaps more than he used to. And it's good to see him transitioning now at 25 into a modern fullback. He's been integral as well, 1.9 key passes per match. He's also been part of 7 clean sheets while he has played. That United have kept this year. 0 errors leading to goals, 0 penalties conceded, and only 1 error leading to a shot. Now that sort of stat is something you're going to see as a common theme throughout the back line, but it doesn't mean it's going to be an easy feat for any defender to achieve. So full credit to this player and everybody else that's going to make it into this team. In saying that, the next man in defence, we were talking about how one Brazilian was being kept out of the United team. Well, now we're talking about one that's just transferred to Chelsea in the summer. It's former PSG captain, Champions League finalist, former AC Milan defender, Thiago Silva. The only time I can really fault Thiago Silva this season is during the dip in form towards the end of Lampard's tenure as manager, which, by the way, I still don't think was the correct decision, but we'll go into that in the live stream one day. We have to remember that the entire Chelsea team was underperforming. When he has been at his best, he's been rock solid. He's at 4-time team in the week inclusion. He's actually scored for them twice. He's maintained a 93 passing accuracy percentage. He's kept 8 clean sheets despite playing less games than Luke Shaw for a team that is sitting in 3rd compared to Chelsea's 5th. And he's only had 1 error leading to a goal, which is obviously more than Luke Shaw. But I can imagine, I don't have anything to back this up, but my sort of opinion is that in a centre-back position, you are more prone to leaving yourself exposed at the back. So that's probably why he has. And look, it's one error. And Chelsea have otherwise have been very, very good defensively for a lot or most of this season. And just a final point on Silva. 64% of the ground or aerial duels he gets into, he wins, which is more than most, a lot better than other players. He stands at 182 centimeters tall. He's complained about, coming up against the likes of Burnley where the balls are hoofed long all game, but he's been awesome. He scored 2 goals, like I said, both were from a header. He's a beast. He's an experienced stalwart, and he makes my he makes my 1 player per team starting 11. Ruben Dias, Manchester City's best probably player, along with Ilkay Gundogan. Unfortunately for Gundogan, he will miss out on this team, as will Kevin De Bruyne, because of his injury issues. And also I think Ruben Dias has been that much better. He's been the best signing of the summer, perhaps you could say, particularly in the Premier League, but maybe even in all of Europe. The Portuguese defender has been pivotal in putting Manchester City back where their owners expect them to be. 12 clean sheets in 20 games. He's played most of those with big Jonathan Stones, who could have also just made this team just as easily. But Dias has actually been used far more than Stones, comparatively, and he has played no matter the defensive partner he has played with. Unlike any of the other defenders we've mentioned so far, he actually has given away a penalty, but other than that, 0 errors leading to shots, 0 errors leading to goals. Obviously, despite the penalty, he has been so astute in his defensive awareness. It's almost unfathomable, and it's a reason why Manchester City will win the league this season. Also, one of the key reasons why Pep Guardiola wanted him was because of his passing ability. His percentage, particularly in the opposition half, has been really great. He also passes into the opposition half or within the opposition half. He also averages more than 1 interceptions per match, which is better than Shaw and Silva, and he makes more interceptions per game, which is really interesting because Man City hold the ball for a lot more than the other teams. Typically, they hold the most average possession in the league this season. I believe it's around 60%, maybe 59%, which is really interesting. So for him to be making more interceptions on average than players of other teams where they're not holding as much possession comparatively at all, shows that he's smart. Man City will win the title this season. £68 million now seems like a bargain. And it looks like, well, let's be honest, it looks like a bargain even without them having yet won the league. But they will go on to, so we'll be seen as even more of an astute signing. James Justin, yes, he tore his ACL this week, but he has been in the majority of Leicester's games this season. He's a fantastic young player, and I can't believe the meteoric rise he's had. And I don't think it's talked about enough. He is a phenomenal young player. England now do have more of a fullback issue in that they have too many. And he's been part of a Leicester defence that have kept 9 clean sheets in the 23 games he's been a part of. So 9 clean sheets he's kept in 23 games that he's been a part of. And the most important stat of all is that he's been one of the only defenders to amass more than 100 points on Fantasy Premier League this season. So I bought him in around game week 4 and I have not looked back since. Defending has been solid, no errors leading to goals. And almost making 3 tackles per game, which is huge. It shows how not only high Leicester like to play their line, particularly their fullbacks, push forward heaps and heaps and heaps, which is why you've got great runners like Albrighton and Harvey Barnes to come back and forth like this. Great interplay between the flanks of Leicester. Just wanted to mention that. Props to you for coming second at the moment. Those 3 tackles per game is the most in the team by far. I believe the next highest is 1.5, Ruben Dias. As I said, he loves to make overlap. He loves to get forward, and the way he does this is actually, this might seem obvious, but it's overlapping and underlapping runs. One of the goals of the season was scored when he started from left back, his unfavoured position, but somewhere he's still very, very capable. A bit of interplay, he passed it infield, and then he got it back and he dribbled past the goalkeeper. Like, he's showing ability of a winger. He kind of reminds me of a little bit of, I kind of want to say Jordi Alba, because Jordi Alba used to be an accomplished winger at Valencia. Yeah, you know, I might just make that comparison. The only thing that might come up as a red flag for James Justin is that he has an 80% pass accuracy. But the reason why I think that can be justified for not being a weakness in his game is that he's 88% accurate for passes in his own half, which has actually been predominantly on his weaker left side. And B, it means he's also not afraid to make one-touch passes that are risky and bounce off more centralised as the players, like particularly Tielemans, Maddison as well, who's been fantastic as well this season, those two, but particularly the latter. Absolute beast. Right, moving out of defence, and it's one of the most informed midfielders in the world. It's Jack Grealish. Villa sits so high up the table this season after surviving relegation last season by the skin of their teeth, largely because of this man. Yes, Emiliano Martinez from Arsenal was a great signing. Fantastic signing. bar only one game this season, a couple of calamitous errors against West Ham. But besides that, the 5-time Team of the Week inclusion, as well as the Argentine goalkeeper, have been on fire for Villa, and of course Villa being Jack Grealish's boyhood club. Let's go away from Emi Martinez and go back to the man at hand. The Irishman turned Englishman has scored 6 and assisted 10 so far this season. He overtook his goal and assist numbers for last season almost a month ago, and we've still got plenty to go left in this season. We all thought those numbers were incredible back then. Now we look at these and we're in awe. A 62% long passing accuracy is the highest we've seen so far out of any player in this team, and a 22% crossing accuracy, which is a whole 10% higher than James Justin, means that he's got that part down to his game. 22% is actually quite high, because if you think about the amount of crosses that go in and deflected or go out or caught by the goalkeeper, those will bring your percentages way down. So the fact that it's 22%, really positive stuff. He is the most fouled player in the league, drawing 4.5 per 90, which is huge. And Jack Grealish was absolutely one of the first names on this team sheet. In the central midfield position is the surprise package of the season. Who plays for the most surprise package team of the season? It's West Ham's Mark Noble. No, I'm kidding. It's Tomas Soucek, who's actually more likely to get an England call-up. 23 games, 8 goals from a number 8, even number 6. It's astonishing. 8 goals is a lot of goals from central midfield. 72% long passing accuracy, which is the highest so far now. 2 tackles per game, huge. 3 clearances per game, huge. 61% aerial duels won, which is more than most. He's part of a very well-balanced West Ham team, is Tomas Soucek, and he's predominantly here for the fact that he scores goals. But don't doubt his ability on the ball, whether that be dribbling, the ability to hold up, the ability to pass the ball, and of course his defensive attributes. His footballing IQ is very, 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 very high, and watching his third man runs, particularly against Aston Villa in a couple of match weeks ago, was phenomenal. A bit of interplay between Ollie Watkins, I believe, who got the assist, who's also been a really great player this season. Like to get a bit more consistency before he makes a team like this. But his partner in midfield is an unexpected one, that's for sure. It's Andre Frank Zambo Anguissa. The Cameroonian footballer does sit in the middle of a relegation dogfight right now, but a 2-0 win this morning, thanks to Sunderland Till I Die's favourite Josh Maja. Will certainly turn that fortune around if they can maintain that. They may well have already gone down to the second division mathematically had they not had this Cameroonian beast in the middle of their park. Not only has he contributed going forward with 3 assists, which is huge for a low-scoring team, he's been very defensively solid in what has been a leaky Fulham team. 2 interceptions per game, 2.5 tackles per game, and only 1 error all season leading to a shot. His passing is perhaps the best part of his game though, as I said, a couple of assists. He's had an 85% total passing accuracy, and he's actually a very surprisingly good crosser. 38% crossing accuracy, 55% accuracy for long balls this season. He's sort of a jack of all trades, master of none, and I actually really enjoy watching his interplay at Fulham. Scott Parker, I think, is getting the best out of him, and I think that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And he could be key if Fulham are to stay up this season. Other options for this position, which is probably the most hotly contested one, I wanted to include Højbjerg or Ndidi as well into this side, but James Justin, of course, is the player that I wanted to include at fullback, and you'll hear about who I included for Tottenham a little later on. Please take nothing away from Andre Frank Zambo Anguissa. He made this team for a reason, and I think he provides a bit more defensive solidarity, but also really good passing. That's going to be critical to this team. We have 4 attacking players in the left wing, the right wing, and the 2 strikers coming up, so we need a bit of defensive solidarity. Next up on the right-hand side is the top scorer in the Premier League this season. It's Mohamed Salah, the Egyptian. 113 minutes on average separates each of his 17 goals so far this season. That's 0.7 goals per game in a now struggling out of form Liverpool team who could drop to 9th should results go against them. 3 assists takes him to a total of 20 goal contributions so far for this season. Premier League's top scorer, as I said. Nothing more to say. Next, Harry Kane. Here is the reason why Højbjerg doesn't make this team. The 7-time Team of the Week inclusion, Harry Kane has been a phenomenon above and beyond his own high standards this season. Finally, he's not been burdened by injury, which has thus allowed him to essentially build up some form, string together some appearances, and drag this Tottenham team by the scruff of their necks to the heights of first place for about 3 minutes so far this season. Not only has he maintained his exceptionally high goal scoring record, but he's managed to become something of a prime Mesut Ozil. He was the first name on this team sheet and on every other draft that I made of the starting 11. I haven't even mentioned his stats yet. Let me tell you exactly why he's the first name on any team sheet that I make. 21 games, 13 goals, 11 assists. It's just phenomenal. All of this, and he only makes 44 touches per game, which is heaps less than every other player that I've mentioned in this side so far. In fact, you could even say he should have had more. He's actually missed 6 big chances, which is by far the most of any player as well. And that would have put him on, if he got all those goals, 2 more than Mo Salah. So that tells you the kind of caliber of play we're talking about here. Harry Kane having a great season, and hopefully for Spurs fans' sake, of which there are 0, he can keep you out of a relegation fight. Callum Wilson, someone who's actually in a relegation fight. The man from Newcastle is essentially keeping the Geordies in the league this season. Yes, he's out injured till April with a hamstring injury. That could have left him ineligible because it's been about a week and a half now. But I'm sorry, I wasn't going to start Sean Longstaff in midfield because Wilson got injured just a week and a half ago. No, it wasn't going to happen. 10 goals and 5 assists, and Newcastle have only scored 25 goals this season. Bit of maths, that tells you exactly what Newcastle fans don't want to hear. 66% of goals have just gone out the window for them because he's injured until April. So could things go from bad to worse for an already struggling Newcastle team? Probably. Jolinton's not going to make this team anytime soon, nor is he going to keep him in the Premier League. So best of luck to you, Geordies, and we'll see you next season, or the season after, when you probably make your way back up. Well, that's the starting 11. Thank you so much for staying through. Tell me what you think of that starting 11. I'll just rattle off the names quickly. Let me go. I'm not going to look at my notes. Ready? Pope, Shaw, Silva, Diaz, Justin, Grealish, Souček, Andre Frank, Sambo and Gisa, Mo Salah, Harry Kane, Callum Wilson. Thank you. Right, let's go through the bench really quickly. From Leeds, it's Meslier. He won't ever play. Sorry, mate. That's not to say that it isn't a positive move to have a very young keeper on your bench. In saying that, this season he's been really solid, holding down his own position in a very defensively weak Leeds side. You've got a Champions League performing Kika Casilla on the bench, of course. Now, he's obviously had a dip in form for many reasons that we won't go into now. But he's keeping him on the bench, the 18-year-old. He's younger than me, and he's doing everything I guess we all dreamed of as a kid. Credit to him, great keeper on the bench. From Crystal Palace, it's Wilfred Zaha. He can play on the flank or as a forward, either flank or as a forward. 11 goal contributions from 19 games that he's played, and he can pretty much fill in any position across that top 4 that we mentioned, should there be any injuries in those areas. Next up is James Ward-Prowse, who probably would have started if it wasn't for the fact that his team have lost 9-0 twice in the last 11 months. Unfortunately, I'm just going to have him on the bench. He's objectively the best free kick taker in the league by far, and is even more solid in defence this year than he has been in previous years. So he's the Southampton captain, is making a name for himself as more than just a creative player, the second coming of David Beckham, and instead he's really proving a stalwart for Southampton. Jayden Burgle, the Sheffield United right back, who hasn't actually started that much, but I think it's difficult to pick for Sheffield United. I could have chosen George Baldock, of course, but they do sit last in the table. But what I like about Bogle, he's got a goal and he's got an assist as well, I believe, in a limited number of games in comparison to James Justin. So we've kind of got like a B-Tech version of Justin on the bench, should things go kaput like they have in real life. Next up is the first centre-back replacement. It is Connor Cody, a captain who's on the bench. Not the fastest, but excellent in defence, even for an out-of-form Wolves team. I personally think he should have been an option for Liverpool in terms of replacing their centre-backs that are injured this season. However, they didn't go for it, even though he is, of course, a Scouser himself. I don't think this is the best pick, I'll admit, just because he lacks pace. But what I do like about him is his great passing range. It's an excellent passing range, actually, particularly long passes. I would have liked from Wolves Pedro Neto, but I think that we did need more defensive coverage, so the Portuguese will have to suffice for a place not in this team. But there is a reason as well why, because I've replaced him with somebody else coming up a little bit later. Next up is Yves Bissouma. It's a flip of the coin between him and Andre Frank, Zembo and Gisa in midfield. I chose the Cameroonian because his passing is better, even when Bissouma plays for a Graham Potter-led Brighton side that are trying to play like prime Barcelona. So I think he's great cover in midfield. He's more defensive than James Ward-Prowse. He's got an astute passing ability. He's a target for Arsenal in the summer, but I just think Zambo and Gisa is just the better choice. Michael Keane, despite losing 3-0 this morning, has been a great player all season for Everton. Now, I could have chosen James Rodriguez, I could have chosen Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It's always great to have 2 centre-backs, considering we have 9 subs to play with, because there's 20 teams. So he's going to go on the bench. Second to last play now, the Brazilian Mateus Pereira from a struggling and leaky defence West Brom team. One of the reasons why Sam Allardyce has a chance at survival. I think he's a brilliant little flair player. I think it's great to have a bit of flair coming off the bench. It's something we really need. He's a capable goal scorer, and I think he's a very good football player. Finally, it's from Arsenal, who don't start in this team, yet Fulham do. How surprising is that? It is Bukayo Saka. He's the best player on the bench, in my opinion. He's proven very, very, very versatile in the last 18 to sort of 20 months. On either flank and on either attack or defense. What he's done this season is add goals to his game, and it's dragged Arsenal from their relegation battle up into mid-table contention, and hopefully for the Gunners fans up into Europe again. In whatever format of the European game that may be. And I think if we do need a spark of energy in any attacking or defensive position, this will be the first sub made at every single game that this team plays. So that is the final team. I'd like to thank you very much for participating in this. This is one of the more cool videos. I've really enjoyed making this video, so thank you very much for coming along. My head is actually throbbing from this stupid microphone that I dropped on it, but let me know what your teams, but don't worry about a bench. Just do what your starting 11 would be. Remember, only one player from each team in the Premier League. It could be any team in the Premier League. And you know what? I will see you guys for a live stream very soon. Thank you so much for watching here on Football for the Fans, where the fans come for everything headaches. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.